In this episode of Money Matters with Jim Doyle, a virtual business, digital assets and e-commerce, a disruptor's journey, featuring guest Allison Carr of Nata with Blair Kaplan Venables and Alyssa Lockhart. Plan more, worry less. This is Money Matters with Jim Doyle.
Is virtual the way of the future? The explosive growth of e-commerce is offering some fundamental shifts in the way that things are bought and sold. Planning looks different when dealing with a virtual business, as finding allied professionals that have this as part of their business perspective can be a little harder to find. Is running a virtual business really that different? Welcome. For intrepid business owners accepting the task of running an e-business, they're redefining what business needs to look like and decisions that are disrupting industry. It's not business as usual. While a virtual business can reduce the need for office space and retail space, it can save overhead costs, which include commercial leases, building leases, utility bills, insurance premiums, and more. Virtual businesses usually don't have a storefront that customers can visit and may allow employees to work digitally at home. It can be tougher to create a cohesive company identity and culture and can cause potential communication issues by a lack of face-to-face interaction and employees being in diverse locations. So let's look at a business that is positioning itself as an alternative to the traditional grocery store.
So Nata is a package-free grocery store and online grocery delivery service. So we're based in East Vancouver right now, delivering groceries to people across Greater Vancouver. And throughout our supply chain, we're really working hard to reduce both food waste and plastic pollution. So my background is actually as a research scientist and marine biologist, and I was really lucky to live and work and travel in a lot of incredible places around the world, and I really did see firsthand just how global and widespread the plastic pollution problem was, being in these really pristine places but actually seeing a huge amount of plastic pollution, a lot of brands and products that I was using myself that I would notice in these places, so it was really eye-opening and really helped me make that connection between our choices as consumers and how that can impact the environment.
These are our house-made croutons. So this is an example of some of the Nata's own product that we do have in store. I came on a little bit later. Brienne had already sort of started up with the idea, checked in with her and sort of, decided to do this together. We started working together back in 2016 and then started up with the pop-up shops at Patagonia, Vancouver. And then eventually, years later down the road, found a brick-and-mortar store that worked for us. And Nata is really rooted in community and really rooted in values, and I think a lot of those are really reflected from both my business partner and myself, but also our team over the years.
We do have a completely circular economy supply chain, so we're working not only with customers and enabling them to shop package-free, but we're also having those conversations with our suppliers as well. So whenever possible, we're getting products that are coming into our space in reusable packaging. We tend to make most of our business decisions with this framework called the 5 R's. So I'm sure you've heard reduce, reuse, recycle, but we start that chain with refuse, so refusing items or things that we don't need, and then reusing or repurposing items that we already have.
It's been really exciting, and I think as we've gained a little bit more traction and made a little bit of a dent in the city, we're able to approach some larger brands and have really interesting conversations and just sort of brainstorm as to ways that we can, carry their products package-free.
When we come back, we'll have Allison Carr with us in studio.
What we do is baked into community and connection and understanding.
Welcome back. We're now joined by Allison Carr. So Allison, let me ask you this. Are e-businesses really industry disruptors?
I think e-businesses definitely have the potential of being industry disruptors. I think in our case, our business model was already a bit of a disruptor brand. We're coming into grocery, which is, very much conventional in a lot of ways for a very long time, and there hasn't been a ton of innovation. And so for us, pivoting our business to an online space and then sort of really, emulating all of what we do as a business, as a package-free grocery store, has been a really incredible opportunity for us and our team. So I think having that space and time and opportunity for us to do what we do and talk about what we do online, I think really does have the potential of disrupting.
How are e-businesses redefining what a business needs to look like and how business actually works?
I think for us at Nada, a lot of what we do is really rooted in community. And so for us having the opportunity of taking our business and moving it to an online platform, it really did give us the opportunity of showcasing our suppliers, our team, our community, our partners, all of the not-for-profit organizations that we work with, all of the community groups that we're a part of. And so I think for us, within that pivot and within that opportunity, it was a real exciting part of our journey, our business journey, was to go online and really sort of talk about all of those things that really matter to us at a really foundational level.
So I want to touch base on it because I think this is powerful. Okay, does this give you a unique advantage to respond to changes in the marketplace?
I think so. I mean, as a women-owned business and as a community-focused business, I think by doing what we do and by talking about the things that matter to us, I think that is a little bit counterintuitive to a lot of what business looks like, right? I think there's this idea of what a business person looks like. There's an idea of what a business is all about. And I think over time, as there's been more types of people getting into business who have different backgrounds, entirely different experiences, there's a huge opportunity for those of us who are doing it in a different way, in whatever way that is, to really showcase those differences. And so I think more and more we'll just be seeing that really shifting. There's no longer this idea of what that has to be. Business can look like me, business can look like anybody else, and business can really be rooted in the things that really matter to people, and in our case it is community.
So just because it's always been that way doesn't mean that it always has to stay that way. E-business is not business as usual. Let's hear Alyssa Lockhart's thoughts on this.
Alyssa, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So when we talk about digital assets, they're a relatively new concept in estate planning. How do you advise your business clients in that area?
Well, I wouldn't actually say that they are new in estate planning. I've been asking clients about digital assets for the last 12 to 15 years. For many clients, one of the challenges is that their estate plans don't include reference to digital assets. So when a person dies without a digital asset reference in their estate plan, it might be very difficult for their executor to even identify digital assets and find them. It is very difficult for a business owner always to know where their customer is based and what legislation might be imposed on their business. So we need to look at what jurisdiction do we want to incorporate in, and how do we protect our intellectual property? Do we protect it here in the local jurisdiction? Do we register our business more broadly because we're intending to do business more broadly? How do we protect our contracts if they may be subject to foreign jurisdiction court orders at some point in time? Whether or not we contain a jurisdictional clause in our contract, there may be a conflict of laws situation that could develop.
So Alyssa talked about some of the unique challenges of e-businesses, including protecting intellectual property and knowing where your clients are. I know you folks have some big growth plans ahead of you.
Yeah, it's not something that I personally know too much about. We had a really wonderful CEO company who did all of our online pivot, all of our website and our back-end work. And so in terms of IP, they really took hold of that.
Wonderful. Now, what were some of the unique challenges that you faced pivoting from a bricks and mortar operation to a virtual business?
Yeah, there were a lot. I mean, for me especially, I think being a community builder and people person, obviously pivoting to an online space, there really was a lack in community connection and in-person connection. And so I think, you know, obviously there's a pandemic happening, a whole bunch of anxieties amongst, you know, the world, our team, trying to navigate all of that at once, really trying to, you know, show up the best we could as founders and really try to bring as much of our in-person experience to an online space. That's really hard to do, right? It's really hard to capture that authenticity and put it online.
Now, we've seen a number of business owners, you know, that are, you know, wearing the HR hat in a way that they never had to wear it before, and they're now, you know, dealing with some employees. Some mental health issues are coming to the forefront that weren't there before. Any unique challenges there, or has it been pretty smooth for you?
Oh yeah, it's definitely not been smooth. Our entire team, I mean, I think again, the world was, you know, in a state of trauma in a lot of ways. You know, there was a lot of uncertainty, there was a lot of questions, there was a lot of fear. It was really hard, it was really heartbreaking, but I think something that really came out of that experience was that sort of collective power and energy of making what we really wanted to see online work well, while also staying connected in the ways that we could with those community members. And what we do is baked into community and connection and understanding, and you know, our community pulls through for things that really believe in, and we're really thankful to have a lot of people who feel really aligned with the mission and, you know, believe in a less packaged future.
Coming back, we'll talk about developing a plan for social media and e-business marketing.
I think for what we do, it's really important for us to be authentic in any messaging.
Allison, you talked about the importance of nature-based decisions in your business model. Would you like to tell us a bit about that?
For me, that means considering nature in every decision. And so when we are thinking about any decision that relates to anything to do with our business, I think it is really important for us to consider the effects that that decision may have on the planet and the people.
As we build that community connection online, can we talk about the relevance of getting your message on mark?
I think for what we do, it's really important for us to be authentic in any messaging. I think our community would hold us pretty accountable to that as well. You know, we've been pretty customer facing for a lot of what we've been doing, and so I think when it came to pivoting online, ensuring that we were still engaging in community in the ways that we could and emulating our values within our business, our website, our online space was super important for us.
When we talk about community connection for an e-business, telling your story, okay, how is that different for an e-business?
It's different in a lot of ways, but I think a lot of similar ways as well. COVID sort of offered us a little bit of an opportunity to engage with our community in different ways. You know, we were doing supplier IGTV lives, which was really exciting. An opportunity for us to connect with suppliers across Canada, which we hadn't done previously. And, you know, just continue to make sure that it was clear that community was at the heart of what we did, right? We're not just online selling a product, we're also really in support of our supply chain, all of our growers and producers, all of our organizations that we've collaborated with, all of our community members that we've engaged with in person. We have so much content and so much substance there when it comes to actually displaying what we're doing in an online space. So I think for us it was a really neat opportunity and kind of fun to find ways of engaging and making sure that people still knew that we were there in the same ways, you know?
I like the aspect of telling your story and letting folks know why you're different. When developing your social media presence, Blair Clapham-Venables shares the importance of storytelling. Let's hear what she has to say.
Blair, in your experience, where do most virtual business owners miss the mark when it comes to their social media marketing?
I see a lot of people who work virtually, work remotely, who don't have a plan, and they're just putting content out. So I think a really great thing for them to do is sit back, create a plan, but also then learn how to implement it. Get support where they need it, because not everyone is a social media or marketing expert.
And what are some key strategies that you would have to share with a virtual business owner?
So first of all, when I say create a strategy, this doesn't need to be a 50-page plan. It could be even a one-pager. But know what stories you're going to tell. What stories do your customers want to hear that's going to build the like, know, and trust factor with your business?
Yeah, we talk about community, and I know for a lot of business owners, virtual and otherwise, we're looking at social media being on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, and you're kind of divided with your focus, your time, and your energy. So if you are working with a finite amount of time, what do you recommend?
Well, first of all, don't panic, because you do not need to be everywhere on social media. Just, you know what, master one or two social media platforms, master them, do them well, and when you feel comfortable with it, add another one in. And it's also really good to be where your customers are. Where are the people who are spending money with you? That's where you want to be.
Now, I love Blair's comments about the risk of just putting stuff out there. As you morphed into a virtual business, how did that change your marketing?
I think, again, really trying to come up with ways that made sure that we were communicating what we're all about to our audience at large. And so it was a lot of collaboration amongst our marketing team to really find ways to bring ideas to the forefront and figure out, you know, methods of really communicating what we're all about.
So as we talk about your social media marketing, did it change the processes that you had with regards to your virtual message now?
I don't think too much. I think there maybe was a little bit more of a focus of making sure, as we, you know, pivoted online and became an online business, making sure to communicate those values and our mission and vision to our social channels maybe more often. And then obviously, of course, as I've mentioned, really think about the ways that we can continue to promote the things that we're all about, that have to do with community and our supply chain and our team and that kind of thing. We were already doing this in some ways, but yeah, of course, when we pivoted, our social channels did change slightly, and we had to figure out ways of making sure that we could capture the essence of what we're all about into an online space.
We'll be right back.
I think for me, it's really hard to mimic the same type of connection that you would get in person as you would online.
Welcome back. We're joined by Allison Carr of Nata Grocery. You know, we touched on the challenges of pivoting bricks and mortar business into a virtual business, okay? What do you see as today's biggest challenges for virtual businesses?
I think for me, it's really hard to mimic the same type of connection that you would get in person as you would online. I think we've found, and other brands as well, of course, have found a lot of ways of making that happen. But there is something really special about having a flagship store in our instance and being able to connect with our community in that way.
Wonderful. Allison, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been fun. You know, as virtual businesses become more prevalent, the need for telling your story in a way that your audience wants to hear will determine your community connection. Now, I've had a wonderful opportunity to watch businesses that were forced to go virtual, and it's been incredibly exciting to watch those that have succeeded and are probably never going back to the old way of doing things. There are additional planning elements that e-businesses should consider, from protecting intellectual property to having a plan for your social media presence and marketing. Knowing where your clients are can be a unique challenge for e-businesses, and this can include licensing, trade protection, and business-related issues. Make sure you get the necessary legal and tax advice. Now, whether you're an industry disruptor or not, what doesn't change is the importance of appropriate planning. And that means a business plan, a social media plan, a risk management plan, a marketing plan, and of course, a financial plan. Now, I wish we had more time. I want to thank Allison Carr, Alyssa Lockhart, and Blair Kaplan-Venables for sharing their thoughts on Money Matters. Because financial aspects touch so many elements of our lives, it pays to get great advice. Plan more, worry less.